Is that Bill Hader? How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Great. It's so exciting to see you. Duffy's here in the building.
Hey, Duffy.
Hey, what's up?
This is,
How's it going?
yeah. So, this is very exciting. Bill Hader, you have broken away from the pack. I'm not going to say this. First of all, how did you become the world's greatest director? When did that happen?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think but no, I mean, Duffy can tell you we were much more of like a movie nerd than a movie and comedy guy, but very much like making short films and stuff growing up. That was much more the focus growing up and like leaving Oklahoma where we were from. And, that's really what you wanted to do was make movies. And then that's why I moved out to LA. I was a production assistant and all that. That was always the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What were those first jobs again as a PA?
Oh, the first job I had was on a USC short film. I think it was USC short film about with Frank Gorshin was in it.
The Riddler.
The Riddler and Master Impersonator.
Yes.
And I would watch him do impersonations of people on the set of this little weird horror short.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that one I had to dig a grave. That was my job.
You literally had to dig a grave.
I literally had to dig a grave. And then I was on a movie called Two Little Heroes. That was like Home Alone, but with dogs. It was a straight to video thing. This is in the late 90s. And then the first big one was Collateral Damage with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And then I was in I worked on the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked on Scorpion King. Those were the big ones. And then I also worked on a movie, K-Pax.
Kevin Spacey, the great Kevin Spacey. I'm sorry. I once was K-Pax for Halloween. It was the easiest costume I've ever had. I had a pair of sunglasses and a banana, and that was enough to get me over the hump with my K-Pax costume. No, it was like, and then people were just like, screw you. Well, it's like, what are you? I'm K-Pax. And they're just like, no, stop it. It's the biggest cheat ever. Yeah. So everybody this year, if you're looking for a great costume, these are the top costumes. Lion, Tiger King, that dude, K-Pax.
Oh no.
Right there. Be K-Pax or Tiger King.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your favorite Halloween costume, Bill? As a kid, were you big on Halloween?
Oh yeah, I was obsessed with Halloween. You know what I used to go as? This shows how nerdy I was. I really loved the Disney Ichabod Crane with Bing Crosby in it. I was obsessed with Bing Crosby. Did all the narration and songs and stuff. So I was Ichabod Crane, I think, like 3 years in a row.
Okay.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's a good costume. How about you, Duffy? Biggest costume hit for you?
No,
No.
I can't. Transformers when I was a kid.
So you were one of those. You were one of those. You were one of those.
Cobble one together like
I got you the costume
like
at the store.
Shantytown,
the sheet, like the plastic sheet and the mask.
Yeah, like
I'm Iron Man.
Yeah, I'd put like boxes together and put like aluminum foil around.
That's good. Yeah. It'd be like, I'm Cape Man.
Yeah, I don't even know if I had a name for the Transformer. It was just Transformers.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah. We were having a discussion earlier on the show, Bill, about whether Boo Berry, the cereal mascot, is the ghost of Bing Crosby. And if you think about it, he's wearing the straw boater. He kind of talks like this, like
that's true.
So is that that the dead Bing Crosby is now a cereal mascot?
Yeah, maybe maybe those early AI things. And they just held on an analog version of that where they said, Bing, just do a bunch of vowels.
Yeah.
And we can make this whatever we want.
Yeah. Just like, Boo Berry, what? do the what's the do the Crosby thing, whatever. His family's not going to catch on.
The only thing we could really make him say is Booberry. So I guess we better make a cereal called Booberry.
Now, I was told by a friend of ours to ask you about the Van Halen brothers,
Oh.
Alex and Eddie.
Well, yeah. So I know who the friend was. It was John Worster.
It was John Worster, yes.
And John laughs, and Damian Abrams from Turned Out a Punk.
Yeah.
We've been on a text chain now, the three of us, I would say, going on 4 years. And a lot of stuff, but the thing I do like is I will call them as the Van Halen brothers.
Okay.
Because there's an interview with the Van Halen brothers that I'm obsessed with that now I can't find, which is them talking about David Lee Roth when he came out. Remember when David Lee Roth joined them on stage at the VMAs?
Yes, when they were floating the possibility of a reunion
of getting back together.
And like that's the night that David Lee Roth kind of killed the possibility for years.
Yeah, because he pissed them off. And the thing that made me laugh was, so it's always, Eddie Van Halen's like, it's like he goes out there and Dave's doing his stuff like bobbity boobity bobbity, and then it's always Alex Van Halen is always just interjecting. It was like, Dave went out there, and no judgment, but his work ethic sucked. No judgment. Guy's work ethic stunk. Terrible. And then this guy, he goes out there going bobbity, but it was totally disrespectful to Beck. Totally disrespectful. It was Beck's moment. Totally disrespectful to Beck. And so I would call those guys as Van Halen brothers. And then John Mulaney and Fred Armisen and I had a text chain as the Van Halen brothers rear-ending somebody. And it was as if you were rear-ended by the Van Halen brothers. I can't remember I do remember that they called a press conference about the rear ending that no one cared about, but they just assumed it was going to be news. And they were up at the thing and no one was asking questions, but Eddie Van Halen was going one at a time. One at a time. Does everybody stop? And everybody's just sitting there.
There are jokes where John and I will talk about a thing and we've built up such a mythology about someone, and then we always talk about like, what if we met that person and then tried to explain it to them and be like, hold on, there's going to be a few stages to this. I just wanted you to hang on. We were talking about what if you, and it's just like they would already be gone. Like, what are you talking about me for like that?
Exactly. And then I've done that for people who knew Eddie Van Halen and they were like, oh, Eddie is like was the nicest guy on the planet. Or he was such a great guy and everything. And then I feel bad. And I go, the impression is based solely on one interview I saw of them from that time. And it just, their energy was really funny to me. Yeah. But no offense to.
Don't worry, they're going to be okay. The Alex Van Halen will get through this. I loved Sammy Hagar had a thing where when he was in his book, which I recommend to everybody read, it's called Red, and I read it. He said that you knew when Eddie was in a bad place when he would show up dressed like a samurai. He was just like, oh, Eddie's in a bad place now. When he shows up with the bandana tied, and they're just like, it's going to be a bad stretch. Eddie's dressing like a samurai now.
I'm reading David Lee Roth's book right now, Crazy, and that is insanely entertaining. A couple of times he calls the reader Jake. I'll say, and that guy was Alex Van Halen, Jake.
Yeah.
But then at one point he says, he says something went wrong in Chinatown in Los Angeles. And he says, but it's Chinatown Jake.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's taking the scenic route to that one.
Yeah, he's endlessly entertaining to me. There's a great clip of him in 1984, I think, live where he can't. It's them live, and it's just him doing crowd work, and there's just I want to say a whole minute of him just with the biggest smile on his face, looking at the crowd, going crazy, and then he just keeps looking back at the band, and then he looks back at the crowd, and he looks back at the band, and it goes on for like a sheer minute. So funny.
It still is one of the most perplexing things to picture. Van Halen, biggest album, the 1984. They're bigger than ever. And then David Lee Roth is kind of just like, I think I'm going to do an EP.
Yeah.
That I'm going to cover a Lovin' Spoonful song on it, a Louis Prima song, a Beach Boys song. And it's just like, you realize you just need to do another one of these Van Halen albums. Like, and everything's going to be taken care of.
There's a great documentary of the Van Halen tour, the first tour with Sammy Hagar, and it's on YouTube, and a lot of it is just them taking shots at Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, down to this, like, look how Sammy eats his cereal. Yeah, Dave wouldn't do it like that. Now, look, see how Sammy's just having a good time, no talking back. Yeah, Dave wouldn't do that.
And then there's a point where Sammy knows, just like when somebody like trash talks the previous person to such a degree, you just know your number is up soon. Like, they're going to do the same thing to you. It's a matter of time.
I'm guilty of this. I've had friends go, you know what, Bill? I'm a little nervous. I mean, I've worked on in my life. But it is true that I always think my friend Brian Craig has the best story where his brother, Jeff, his favorite two bands were Van Halen and Sammy Hagar solo. Those were his favorite groups. And then Brian heard, did you hear Sammy Hagar is the new lead singer of Van Halen? He said he ran home and he went into his brother's room and he went, Jeff, you'll never believe this. Sammy Hagar is the new lead singer of Van Halen. And he said his brother thought for a second and then did a fist pump and went, decent. Like, not great.
Yeah.
He was like,
yeah. It's like, what if everything you wanted came true? Like if Charlie at the end of the Willy Wonka was kind of just like, decent. Like, you get the chocolate factory, Charlie.
Yeah, it's like,
cool.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the idea of that.
Yeah. And the other thing with Willy Wonka is, how do you think these Oompa Loompas felt that they built this place on their sweat and toil? They're basically indentured servants at best, these Oompa Loompas. And then they find out Willy Wonka's going to step down. And they're just like, okay, well, maybe we'll get somebody from the inside will get promoted. It's like, no, we're going to put some tickets and candy bars. And one of these idiot kids will run this whole place.
I feel like you've been beating this drum for a while, Tom.
I will say this.
Really got
it bothers me so much. I actually had a meeting about Willy Wonka.
It was a therapy session.
And told them this. And that there should be a show, because they're like, oh, we're doing all this Roald Dahl stuff. It's going to be thing. I was like, well, this is the story it should be, is about the Oompa Loompas getting overlooked because they went to a bunch of kids, British kids, and these Oompa Loompas got stolen from their country. They're basically enslaved. And just the reaction of the Oompa Loompas, and I've never had a thing in a meeting go more flat than that did. It really was just like, well, thanks for. We kind of want it to be more about the fun at the chocolate factory.
Like children and chocolate is what people are looking for, not
Like
a
this is about
face of little people
Yeah.
being overlooked and kind of just. Yeah. Also, I think about that too, because also the thing is that they find that out, and then the next thing is, and so these tickets aren't going to put themselves in the candy bars by themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, so I was kind of wondering if you'd
I'm wondering if you
gotta put
guys
5 of them in a couple of candy bars spread around. And then who was I would want either the story be about the Oompa Loompas or the maniac who tried to fake one of the golden tickets when they thought all of them were. When they found out at the last second, they found out there was one more out there. You could do like, if you could do a movie about Flamin' Hot Cheetos or all of these things, there is a movie about the guy who faked a golden ticket to try to get into the chocolate factory and then got busted at the last second.
Yeah, he's played by like Daniel Craig in Glass.
Yeah.
Do you think they'd like this one more than your unionization of the Oompa Loompas?
I don't think they wanted anything from me at that. It's a clear decision was made. I will not be working with the Roald Dahl estate in any capacity going forward.
I don't know how you got into the Roald Dahl estate meeting.
I think like one of the places owns all the Roald Dahl stuff now, and they're just like, we're looking to do IP with all the Roald Dahl. Like, well, here's my take. We make it about the Oompa Loompas being enslaved.
It was about the Oompa Loompas, but it's like Love Island.
Yeah. The Oompa Loompas. Yeah, I can't get enough of this garbage. I want to show you something, Bill. A listener a year or so ago, I was talking on the air about there was a sale at the Don Rickles estate.
Oh, wow.
And we were talking about it on the show, and the listener was just like, well, I bid on some stuff. And then he won. He's like, I don't live in Los Angeles. They won't ship it to me. If you pick it up, you can have some of the stuff. So I was like, yeah, of course I'll go pick it up and mail it to you. It was 5 ties and 5 belts. So this is one of Don Rickles' stage ties.
Wow.
And his belt, the tie is nice. The belt is a little, it's like a stretchy belt. It's a little depressing. You realize Don had some weight fluctuation with this stretchy belt.
It's like an exercise band.
It is. It's like an old-fashioned exercise thing. You should just tie it to the wall and get a good workout in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you ever want, I wonder if there could be a movie. Maybe we do a thing about if we wear the tie, you become we get Rickles AI in there, and just like kind of match it. Like
you inviting me to come over and look at the ties?
I want you to wear the tie, Bill.
You want me to wear the ties
and the belt, hopefully. Ideally, the belt and tie. At least the tie, though. The belt, not so much, actually. So I know everybody is on ice with everything. What does a 2024 hold for a Bill Hader?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Duffy and I are writing stuff, but not now. But we were. But we continue writing stuff when everything picks back up. So just like with everybody else, just chilling.
Just
I don't know.
the ride.
Trying to ride it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Finishing the show was a big, it's like 6 years of constant work. And so I think just slowly getting my brain and personality back is good.
That's a good thing. You need your personality back. Please, by all means, do anything you can to get that personality back and your brain back. Bill, I can't thank you enough for popping in and saying hi. This is amazing. You're one of my favorites, and it's such a treat.
Thank you, bud.
All right.